on the Navajo Code Talkers and their impact on World War II. The compelling question we would give to students on the first day and keep touching on is, how did the use of specific dialects and unique characteristics of the Navajo Code Talkers impact World War II? So as you can see here on this screen, we decided to create hyperdocs for each of the day, and they're all included here throughout the 5 days. So the reason we chose this topic was because we don't really remember learning much about the Navajo Code Talkers in school. And as teachers, we believe it's important to be able to apply new knowledge to a topic students have already learned about. In this case, most of the time they've already learned about World War II or other major events like that, but they don't really get to learn anything from the perspective outside of the Americans. With this said, we wanted to place more emphasis on learning from diverse perspectives and stepping out of white-centered points of views for major events. It's evident that the Navajo Code Talkers were heroic in the war, but they also faced tough situations before, during, and after this major event. So we thought that this could also be connected to real-world situations today, and we could also look at some of the racism, abuse, and discrimination they faced, obviously years before the war. Altogether, we found it important to allow students to apply prior knowledge to new knowledge, incorporating English and history aspects in order to enhance critical thinking throughout these 5 lesson plans and connecting back to the compelling question. So most of the texts we are using are included in the multimedia text set we created on Padlet. We also included links to images and videos we will be viewing in our hyperdocs. Some of these texts include who the Navajo Code Talkers were, their roles, their influence on World War II, how and when they were honored, translation examples, importance of dialect and language, history behind the Navajos in America, and primary documents or videos and images and conversations with them. In day 2, students are instructed to do some research for other credible sources they find, so they are instructed to only find one research source, and this will be added onto the Padlet text set, and those are mainly the sources we'll be working with for the 5 days. So if we go to day 2 on the research day, I will show you the Padlet link that I am talking about, where most of our sources are included. So here, this is the introductory text I was talking about, and these are our other sets that we added. These are some extras that we will be using as well or looking at, and a video. And then students would be instructed to add their own research source on this side. So this is mostly where everything is found, and students are going to be continuing to refer to this link. I'm going to show day 1. So this is mainly where we're going to get to learn the Navajo Code Talkers, who they were, some of their roles, and introduce the compelling question. So throughout the 5 days, students inquire about the compelling question through reading, discussing, researching, writing, and touching on specific parts that serve as answers for their compelling question. So essentially, we're dividing every single part to get their final answer for the compelling question. They also engage in reflections, and they engage with activities that allow them to activate prior knowledge to new knowledge in order to inquire about the compelling question again. So we use literary practices to provide scaffolding and support by having them, again, activate prior knowledge. They watch videos, listen to a think aloud, they annotate, which they have guidance to. They have other guided instructions. We include hints or sample answers to some questions, for example, the Bellword questions, which provides scaffolding and support. We allow them to use graphic organizers and rough draft outlines, and this is just for, again, being able to provide that support. And we use consistent feedback and some modeling techniques throughout the 5 days to be able to give them what they need and allow them also to inquire about the compelling question. So if we look at day 1, Here we can see we include their standards and objectives for day one. So this also serves as scaffolding and support because they know what they're exactly to be working on. They engage in a Jamboard every single day for bell work. So if it loads, here is day one, and then we can see up here there's 5 days, so it's each of the bell work questions. They have their hands here for what they can say. We have them view some videos or images in some days, and they have all their instructions broken down. We include a link for all the articles, guidance, and instructions for annotations. They have their Think Aloud linked right there so they can refer back to. And they're able to share all their work with each other. That way they know what they should be doing, and they can be receiving constant peer review feedback, and every single day allow them to reflect on what they're learning, what they need help with, or what they feel comfortable with, and that'll help us as teachers as well. So if we move on to day 2, this is just the research aspect. Again, standards and objectives, and then bell work for the second day. This is where we include their Padlet link, and here's again their directions for annotating in case they need it again. In this one we have them do a short Flipgrid to be able to reflect and apply what they're learning from research. Again, share everything through Padlet. Day 3, we are starting to bring in our final assessment. So, and also every day has a guiding question aside from the compelling question. That way we know we're dividing everything in parts. Here again is a Jamboard activity, and this one they watch another video. We include this link right here, and we give them the choice of choosing what graphic organizers they want to use, and this one has templates and examples. That way they choose the one they feel most comfortable with. We didn't include this one for Google Slides because they will be creating that on their own individually for small presentations. And then again, just having them reflect on certain aspects of the lesson. And day 4 is when they're mainly creating a rough draft outline for their analytical essay. They will be engaging in some review and some small discussion. So we included the image here for them, but this is another link if they are intrigued and want to look at more images of the Navajo Code Talkers in World War II. Again, they engage in some discussion in a digital app, and they share all their information, and here we include the code so they can be able to join it. Finally, for day 5 is when they should be finalizing their essay. So they will demonstrate their understanding through a summative assessment by writing a literary analysis essay. In the essay, they will write 1 to 2 pages answering the compelling question by using examples, explanations, and analysis of the text we engage with, the videos, images, presentations, discussions, and any other notes that they may have gathered. And day 5 that's mainly what we're focusing on, as well as a Kahoot in which they review basic information. It's pretty brief since it's mainly a work day. So here we include the rubric for them. We are going to be assessing them on this, but we're also allowing them to assess themselves. So here is their handout at the top, their directions. And here at the bottom, we grade them from 1 to 4. And these are on the left side is the elements we're looking for, and then everything else has descriptions. They should include their name, and then we'll include their score. So although we are assessing them off that rubric, we also allow them to take a look at it and allow them to self-score. Since on day 4 they will be engaging in peer review for their rough draft, they should be assessing that review, incorporating that feedback, making revisions, additions as needed, and they're able to rate themselves as well and provide a small rationale of why they think they deserve that score. That way it's not just based on what we think, but we're considering their opinions as well. Instead of having them read everyone's essays in the class. We're having them create a 1 to 2 minute Flipgrid video in which they briefly explain or summarize what they wrote about. For example, they'd of course answer the compelling question in this, and then they'd share some of the examples they might have included of or unique characteristics of the Navajo code talkers and how they impacted the war. And for the 5th day, we just have them reflect on anything they really want to reflect on. They can provide a small description. And yeah, that's basically it. So to navigate through this, again, everything is linked here on the days, and it takes you to the student guided directions.